We're going to break down Robert Saleh's press conference, all the questions he was asked, as well as the injury report going into the Dolphins game. Welcome in. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, we're going to break down Robert Saleh's press conference that he gave today, all the notes that went into it, as well as the injury reports heading into the Dolphins game. But before we do that, we have to say a little thank you to our sponsor of the day, JR Tax. December is here. That means tax season is set to kick off, and it's time to draft an all-pro CPA to create your tax savings playbook. The IRS has instant replay, and when they throw a challenge flag, they charge penalties, fines, and interest that will put you behind the sticks. Don't let the IRS sack your bank account. Hire JR the Tax Czar and drive yourself or your business down the field for a tax savings touchdown. JR is a great sponsor of the channel. He's also a Jet fan, so if you want to help him out and help the channel out, make sure you support our sponsors. But let's hop into our breakdown for today. We're going to talk a little Robert Saleh press conference. Let's listen to it, and we'll pause it as we go through here. Robert Saleh today, given this.
The meeting's here. When was the last time you showed up first week, Buffalo? Buddy, I keep records. Gonna go if we,
Picking on to me.
Staying in the pocket. All right, real quick, injuries. Jason Brownlee will be out. Same with Carter Warren. Max Mitchell, he'll be limited today. See where he's at after today. Will McDonald will pop up on the report. He's questionable for the game, dealing with a knee. And then everyone else full participant.
Where'd that knee come from before?
Just some stuff from that he's been feeling. Everything looks good. It's just a matter of just getting through these next couple of days, see where he's at.
All right, so he's talking about the injury report for the Jets. Let's pull that up right now. This is the updated one that's on the Jets website. They haven't updated it to Friday. I guess Brownlee, he already said, was out. It looks like John Franklin Myers probably going to be limited. Aaron Rodgers, obviously limited. The other one we want to take a look at is Carter Warren, who did not practice. He's going to be out today as well. And then he said that Will McDonald will pop up on the injury report, and then Max Mitchell is still limited as well. So a few things to take a look at, keep an eye on. We have that deep depth at edge. So if we wind up not having Will McDonald, not overly beat up about it. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from Carter Warren. So if he's not good to go and Max Mitchell is limited, then our right side of our offensive line gonna be a little bit more concerning than I thought it would be heading into this. So hopefully these guys get right for the game and we're not too beat up. Now, I want to bring up the Fins injury report. We do go into it at some point in this press conference, but just want to throw it up here. The top guys of this list: Devon Achane, Armstead, Elliott, Tyreek Hill, and Robert Hunt are the biggest names on here. And you can also take a look at Teron Armstead. He was limited in practice, so I do think he's going to wind up playing, but having him limited in some capacity might spell trouble if both tackles on either side of Tua are going to be a little bit more cumbersome or a little bit slower. Maybe our edge rushers can really pin their ears back, but the big one on this list, obviously, Tyreek Hill. I mean, if Achane can't go, that's absolutely massive as well. Their running game is filthy. But Tyreek Hill not being on the field is a big potential benefit for the New York Jets. Now, Robert Saleh does think he's probably going to play, and even if he's just used as a decoy, you have to account for him. That's how dangerous Tyreek Hill is. So let's listen to the rest of this press conference.
Everything looks...
What's your feel on Max?
Max, 50-50, bud, at best.
With Carter Warren, does that look like season-ending type?
No, if it was season-ending, we would have done something by now. So hopefully we can get him back next week.
So no IR for Carter Warren. That's good at least.
How do you expect him to play, or how does that impact preparation?
They're still dynamic. They still do a lot of things. Fully expecting him to play. So we're operating as if he's playing. And if he doesn't play, then they've got a whole host of track stars that can do not do what he does, but still execute the offense the way it needs to be executed.
I know there have been tremendous receivers across the league before, but can you recall an offense looking one way with a guy, losing him and looking so drastically different?
Well, it's so Tyreek, obviously he's a, it's why he gets paid so much, right? he completely alters game plans when he's on the field. He allows for so much. Mike McDaniel's already a very creative offensive mind, and you give him a piece that's unique to anyone in football, and you just see the creativity go to a whole new level, because there's things that they do that they can only do because they have Tyreek, and he's a special talent. And obviously we're close with those guys, and they talk about how smart he is, which is not surprising or anything, but is why they're able to do so much. He's incredibly bright, and you always talk about it. Who do you give money to in this league? You give money to guys who change games, and he changes games.
So obviously talking about Tyreek Hill there and his potential availability, or maybe lack thereof, potentially, would be absolutely huge. If you saw the Titans game, as soon as Tyreek Hill went out, that offense shut down. They are an entirely different offense. And if he's not good to go, or if he's hobbled, it's going to create problems for the Dolphins. And I don't know how you kind of combat that, because if Tyreek Hill is on the field, now you still have to worry about potentially double covering him. And then now you open yourself up to potentially having some running issues with their offensive line and running backs there. So there's a lot of things they can do because they have Tyreek Hill, but there's certain things they're not going to be able to do if Tyreek Hill's not able to get on the field. So even though they have the speed from all the other guys, Tyreek Hill is a very smart player, and he's able to do things that other guys just can't do in this league.
Robert, last night's game was a pretty good illustration of how things change week to week in the league with the Raiders going from 0 to 60. How do you get carryover from last week into this week offensively?
It's a mundane answer, but you got to stay the course, and every game is independent. Last game, second half of last game for us was awesome. Got to put it to bed, and got to go you're trying to repeat it, but every game is independent of itself. Sometimes things snowball. Wouldn't wish what happened to the Chargers, to my worst enemy, but you just gotta take it play by play and quarter by quarter, and just try to execute the best you can.
So Robert Saleh being a way bigger man than I could be. I would totally wish the Dolphins or the Patriots or the Bills would get 60 hung on them, and then they would lose by 40 points. Like, that's what I'm kind of hoping for here. Don't say you're not wishing it on your worst enemy. But yeah, this league is week to week. You saw how the Jets were just stalled out. And then even like half to half, we were shut out in the first half and then scored 30 points in the second half. Now, if you saw last night's game, the Chargers got absolutely blown out by the Raiders, who scored 0 points the week before and then hung, 63 on them last night? Absolutely insane.
With Tyreek, Robert, I imagine that he's somebody that when you're putting together a defensive game plan, every team that they face is, we gotta stop that guy. Like, we can't let him beat us. So how is he able to still beat everybody?
He's always on the move, and it's not like a line somewhere. He's motioning and he's moving constantly. And then their run game is grossly underrated. Raheem Mostert and their scheme design, and you got Jalen Berrios is playing well. I mean, they're talented at the skill spot, and so it's not like you can just focus on Tyreek. If you do, they'll run the ball and they'll pound into the dirt, and if you try to double them, they got Jalen. They've got weapons everywhere, and Tua does a great job distributing it, and McDaniel and Bevel and their coaching staff does a great job identifying what defenses are doing, and they try to exploit where you're not, the areas of the field where you're not covering and you're vacating. So it's cat and mouse, it's chess, and it's one of those games where for all 4 quarters you've got to be on your P's and Q's.
Yeah, so talking about the Dolphins run game, if you guys haven't watched a lot of them, they are running wide open in the run game all the damn time. Like, it feels like both running backs wind up running for like 4, 5, 6 yards before they make their first contact. When you look at the Jets side of things, our running game is getting like -1 yards before Breece Hall's getting cracked. So interesting stuff. Would like to have their running game here, obviously, even with our offense, or with their offensive woes on the O-line and ours.
Have there been more of a concerted effort to get Garrett on the move, just to try to create some free releases and favorable?
Yeah, it's slowly been coming. Trying to get those guys, trying to get them moving a little bit, and to get so that we're not up there getting pressed and all that stuff. But there's been it's slowly as the season has gone on, just more and more movement from the offense.
Where do you stand? Because
Would be nice if we started that motion in preseason or during training camp and not wait all the way till we're in season to finally see a little bit of motion. I digress.
You came up in, I know you coached elsewhere too, but in San Fran with Kyle, and then also with Mike, motion reigns supreme. Like, you guys motioned the hell out of everyone. Now with Nate, it's much more like line up and just go play football. I mean, where do you have an appreciation for both? Do you want to marry both teams? I mean, where do you stand with
They both have challenges. You know, like Philadelphia doesn't do much at all, but they're very talented, very gifted in terms of and they're very well coached in terms of execution. And then you got teams like Miami and San Francisco who do everything, and they do it at a high level. But at the end of the day, it takes supreme execution. Defensively, you obviously all the motion is challenging because there's a lot of communication that happens, but there's also something to be said when teams line up and they see the picture, because remember, if they move, we move. But to see the picture and then to be able to execute at a high level, when you have that ability, both systems are really good.
Is it surprising that Sauce still doesn't have a pick?
Oh my God, we were talking about that the other day. I was trying to rub on his hands. Like, I played tight end, not that I could catch, but like maybe it'll help him. But no, he's had his opportunities. But they're coming. He's going to eventually. Like I've told him, they come in bunches. As soon as he gets one, it's going to start to flow.
So one thing I will say about the interception side of things, and I would even push this forward towards the sack numbers as well. The Jets have just been behind the 8 ball when it comes to offensive production. So we're always trailing. So you're not getting the opportunity to peel, or put your edge rushers with their ears pinned back. So you're not getting that pressure up front with the sack numbers, and then you're also not causing those passes to be all shaken up and then having the opportunity for the back end guys, Sauce included in that. So if we start scoring some points on offense, I think you'll really see what this defense has to offer.
It seems like there's going to be a concerted effort from the NFL to get rid of the drop tackle. As a defensive-minded guy, what's your take on it?
Always safety first. Obviously, I'd contest it because when you watch the tape, it just looks like a bunch of guys just, either getting drug or just trying to make a tackle, and I don't know if it's a deliberate, different than the horse collar tackle. I think this is all part of just football, where guys are straining to make a play, and it just happens that way, where their legs swing and all that stuff. But because they're kind of out of position. But there's a safe way, because I also do think that when you start messing with tackling, now you're putting players in more awkward positions. It's going to lead to safety issues for the defensive player, and which seems to be happening a lot.
So when you look at the hip drop tackle, for those of you guys that don't know what that is, it's when someone grabs the ball carrier by the waist and kind of like drops their hip to sink their weight onto the back end of the receiver's legs or running player's legs. And then their hip kind of drops onto the back part of the legs of the ball carrier, and that causes them to trip and fall. And we've seen some guys get hurt with that. You saw Mark Andrews get knocked out in Baltimore. I believe that was also the way Tyreek got hurt with the ankle injury, but you've seen it a lot over the course of the season and the last few years because you're not allowed to target high anymore. And I don't know if I would take this out of the game. I think it kind of neuters the defense too much. I think you just have to let them be able to tackle. And like Robert Saleh says, it's more of a football play. There's no deliberateness to injure there the way that a face mask or a horse collar tackle would be. This is just a football play, in my opinion. I don't know how you're going to remove this from the game.
What would be the coach? I mean, because hypothetical situation where like DJ Reed, a very aggressive player, he's not the biggest dude in the world, goes up against someone like Derrick Henry, a big. I mean, how's he expected to bring him down? You know what I mean?
We got our tackling plans, but no, it's for sure. And there's a lot of little things, where you can't cut on the perimeter anymore. So you got these 300-pound men rolling down on 180-pound corners, and just where it's like, what do you want the corner to do? He can't defend himself, and so they're in compromised positions in that regard. But the NFL's, I do know this, the NFL's are working their tails off to try to get it right for safety, and I'm all for it. But if it, eliminating something usually results in someone else having being put at risk at injury. So it's a delicate line to me.
Imagine DJ Reed trying to take down Derrick Henry, just a massive running back, and DJ Reed's not the biggest of dudes. So, if you eliminate those types of tackles, what are the corners supposed to do if they're not squared up with the offensive player right there? You kind of have to get them from the side if you have, your pursuit angle is just slightly off. Frustrating stuff.
What have you seen from Zach this week in practice?
Really good week of practice. He's having fun, messing with guys. He's been good. He's been really good. He's in good headspace.
Short, sweet, to the point. Zach's doing good.
Kind of ramp things up at all this week, or has it been, like you said, just...
Yeah, he pushed it a little bit yesterday. He's
Rodgers.
He went under center and he's running boots and jogging from drill to drill, and it looks normal to me, but it's unbelievable. Credit to him. There's especially in this day and age where a hangnail can affect a game week, but this dude is grinding to try to get himself back. It just shows how much he cares, and just I have an appreciation for him.
Aaron Rodgers under center, doing dropbacks, doing rollouts, running, jogging from practice point to practice point. Oh, I can only get so chubbed up. Robert Saleh, why are you doing this to me right now? I am all sorts of excited. It sounds like this guy is definitely on pace to come back this year. Now, whether we get him back for Christmas Eve or maybe one of the final 2 games is yet to be seen. But man, I want to see Aaron Rodgers out there. I know it could put, next season into peril if he winds up getting hurt, but you can't give me all season and all off season last year of hype with Aaron Rodgers and I can't see him on the field. I really hope we get to see him, and I think we will. I think it's going to happen.
That was in regular practice or flight school?
Through individual and all that. Flight school was just normal. It was all third down, so it was from the gun, which was, it's funny the way he interacts with those guys, and he's a good quarterback.
So he hasn't done any 11-on-11 routine.
No.
7-on-7?
It was 7-on-7, yeah.
So that's the next step.
So no 11-on-11 for Rodgers.
Yeah.
What are going to be factors that have kept Paul down in the running game? He's only had a couple of big games on the ground. I mean, he's been good in the past game.
No, for sure. We're league worst third down conversion rate team, which doesn't allow you to get many snaps on first and second down to be able to establish a run game. If you think about it, every first down conversion is at least one more run, and so if you figure you can get 6 third down conversions, that's at least 6 more carries, but we're sitting there with 1-2 conversions and a week over the past over the course of the year, where I don't think it's a coincidence that last week I think we were 6 of 16 or something like that, and we had 26 runs on the day. So it all goes hand in hand with regards to the run game. We got to block it better, obviously. We got to call it more, but when you can convert and move the sticks and get first downs, you'll have the opportunity to run the ball more.
Obviously, you need to be getting a few more first downs before you can get additional plays and downs, and that's kind of why you're not seeing the running game get going. Aside from the offensive line, dealing with a lot of injuries, having that consistency of having a 10-play drive, now you have multiple opportunities to run as opposed to a 3-and-out or the third down conversion that doesn't convert. Not great if you're the New York Jets, and you got to be able to get better. And last week, we were like 6 of 16 or something along those lines. So at least we started to get that going, and that's why we had the 26 carries you saw last week.
Who's this week's team?
Oh, yeah. So we're recognizing Cardinal Hayes High School and their head coach, C.J. O'Neill. After a 2-win season in 22, they jumped all the way to a 12-win season this year to win the Catholic League State Championship. First New York City school to win this championship, and so congratulations to Cardinal Hayes on a great season.
I was Willie Cologne.
Oh, is this Willie Cologne? I mean, give me that information. See, Willie.
So I will say this. For as much heat as Robert Saleh gets for some of the decisions he's made, or maybe the temperament that he has on the sideline when things aren't going right, he exudes leadership. Like, it's just, he's a fun guy to listen to, and I really hope that, the wins start coming, because I think this team and this coach do deserve it. But lots of stuff to get into, so I mean, look, this game against Miami in Miami is going to be huge. You saw the injury list, Tyreek Hill, Achane, their offensive line gonna be a major factor in this game, as well as the weather. It's supposed to be kind of sloppy, as well as like 40-mile-an-hour gusts. I don't know if you've seen Tua's arm, but Tua's got a noodle for an arm. So if you can limit them to just running and you know they're not going to be able to push the ball too far down the field because of those gusts of wind, maybe you stand a chance. And Zach Wilson's got a cannon. You look at how he performed in the rain, in bad weather last week, and it gives you a little bit of hope there. So guys, let me know what your thoughts of this press conference and this game are heading into Sunday. Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets.
Jets!